Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing a Traptrix deck profiles. I'm really excited to do this with you guys because we just got an amazing new tech boss monster out of Burst of Destiny. It takes this deck to a whole new level, and I am really excited to show you guys what we're playing in this deck because we have all sorts of amazing tech cards. So, without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards like getting your name in the description of every single video, getting a signed cards to mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month your patron along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Traptrix Marmelio. Traptrix Marmelio is one of the best normal summons in the entire deck because this card has the ability that when this card is normal summon, you can add a whole normal trap from your deck to your hand. And if this card is special summon, you can target a spell or trap that your opponent controls and destroy it, which is a pretty good effect just to be able to be a walking MST if it's special summoned, or search literally any whole trap that you need with this card. Also, all of your Traptrix monsters are unaffected by the effects of normal whole trap cards, which is a pretty good effect. We then play 3 copies of Traptrix Mantis. I've been bumping back between 2 and 3 of this card, but this card is still pretty good, so I've chose to play 3 for this deck profile. I might go back down to 2 for some other tech cards, but it's still a fantastic 3-up. So what this card does is when this card is normal summon, you can add a Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand. It's unaffected by all other whole trap cards, and then once per turn, quick effect, you can target one set spell or trap you control, return to the hand, and then set a spell or trap from your hand. Pretty good effect because it can protect from cards like Twin Twister, Cosmic Cyclone, cards like that pop cards. By targeting them, you can just bounce that card by quick effect chaining to the card that's actually targeting the card, bounce that card back to hand, and then reset it to your side of the field, which is a pretty good effect. We then play 2 copies of Traptrix Dio. This card's really good because she has the ability that when she is normal summon, you can target a Traptrix monster in your graveyard and special summon that target in defense position. And when this card is special summoned, then you can target a whole normal trap in your graveyard and set that target, but banish it during the end phase of the next turn if it's still in the field, which is a pretty good effect because it actually gets you a card back from the graveyard, but it's kind of one of those you use it or you lose it effects, but still getting that Traptrix monster back from the graveyard to your side of the field is a very good effect because by special summoning that monster back to your side of the field, you can make a rank 4, you can link summon. It's just really, really good. We then play a single copy of Traptrix Vest. This card is just a 1-up to me. I was playing it previously at 3, but now I've bumped it down to 1. She can special summon herself from your hand, but she has the ability that she's unaffected by the effects of all other whole trap cards, and you can only use one of the following effects of her once per turn. And then she has the ability to send a set trap card you control to the grave to special summon this card from your hand. And if you control no cards in your spell and trap card zone, you can banish her from the graveyard and then target a whole normal trap in your graveyard and set that card to your field. It gives you a little bit of recovery, but it's still just a 1-up to me because you can special summon her, which helps you get into some link plays, which is really nice if you've already used up your normal summon or you need to go into a rank 4, but she's searchable off your copy of Mantis, so I just play her as a 1-up. We then play a single copy of this one. This one's really good as well, the Traptrix Atros. She has the ability that when this card is on your field, you can actually activate whole trap cards from your hand, which is a great effect just to be able to use those as basically hand traps. I love that effect of this card, and it just is really, really good because cards like Harpy's Feather Duster don't matter anymore with this card on the field. We then play 2 copies of our new tech monster, Lord of the Heavenly Prison. This card is absolutely insane and is a great boss monster, and actually even have a tech card in the extra deck that will search. This is why I'm playing it at 2. This card's a very unique card because it has the ability that during your main phase you can activate this effect, that this card in your hand becomes revealed into the end of your opponent's turn. And while this card is revealed by this card effect, set cards on the field cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is a great effect because it protects you from Harpy's Feather Duster and stuff like that. And if a set spell or trap card is activated except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then if you activated this effect while this card was revealed, then you can reveal and set one spell or trap directly from your deck, but banish it during the end phase of the next turn. That is an absolutely insane effect. It gets you literally any spell or trap that you need. It special summons itself to your side of the field as a 3k body, and it protects your back row. Sign me up. I love this card. It is a definite 2-up in this build. I don't think you need 3 because you'll clog with it at 3 in play testing, but 2 is just perfect in this deck. This deck desperately needed a boss monster, and this card came through. So for the other cards we're playing in the deck, I'm playing Double Parallel Izzy because this card is really good in the deck because when you link summon into your copy of Traptrix Sarah, you can actually special summon this card to a link zone that it points to as a level 4 and then special summon out the other Parallel Izzy's to your side of the field. The only reason I'm playing 2 instead of 3 is because I always run into the instance where I'll special summon out one to my field and then the second one to my field, and then I'll draw into the third one, and I really don't need the third one, so I've cut it down to where I'm only playing 2. We then play for the hand traps. We're playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom just to make sure that we're stopping our opponent from touching the deck. It's really important in this deck to stop them from doing that and gaining card advantage. And then 2 copies of Nibiru because Nibiru just basically totally shuts down your opponent's field and is a great card in this deck because it can get rid of your opponent's entire swarmed field. So that's it for the monsters. I will say also that Nibiru is actually searchable by a tech card in the extra deck as well. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the traps because we don't play a single spell card in this build. So for the traps, I'm playing a single copy of Imperial Order, still one of the best traps in the entire game, negates every spell effect. This card is absolutely great in this deck. We play a single copy of Time Space Trap Hole that when your opponent special summons a monsters from the hand or extra deck, shuffle that monsters into the deck, and then you lose 1,000 life points for each card return. This card comes in very handy if you're trying to get rid of a bunch of cards that your opponent's trying to summon against you, or just one that's a really problematic card. I really love this card as a one-of tech card, but sometimes the paying the life points does get in the way, but it's still a great one-of. We then play 2 copies of Grave Trap Hole. Grave Trap Hole is really neat because when your opponent activates a monster effect in their hand or graveyard, or when your opponent banishes, or when your opponent's banished monster effect activates, negate the effect, and if you do, inflict 2,000 points of damage to your opponent. This card literally stops hand traps. It's so good in this deck because you can make it, or you can actually use it with Rafflesia if you have Rafflesia on your side of the field, but it's just such a good 2-of tech card. We then play 2 copies of Floodgate Trap Hole. Floodgate Trap Hole is still a good card in this deck because when your opponent summons a monster, you can change all the monsters that they summoned at the time to face down defense position. The reason it says monsters is if your opponent summons more than one at a time, you can actually put them all face down, but they cannot change their battle position, which is a great effect. We then play 3 copies of Torrential Tribute just to board wipe our opponent just in case they summon a whole bunch of cards that we don't want to have to deal with. We play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence as an additional hand trap in the deck just to stop our opponent from monster effects. We play 3 copies of the Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine. This card is really good because it gives you another monster on your side of the field because you can special summon this card in defense position as a normal monster that's a level 4 with 0 attack and 300 defense. And if you don't have a trap card in your graveyard when you set this card, you can immediately activate it, which is really good to help us get into some rank 4s. We then play 3 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison. Ice Dragon's Prison is such a good trap card that I wanted to play it at 3. It lets you target a monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field, but its effects are negated, and also you can banish one monster from both players' fields that have the same type as each other. So for example, if your opponent's playing something like, I don't know, Dark Magician, and they have a Dark Magician girl in their field and a Dark Magician in their graveyard, you can bring the Dark Magician back to your field and then banish both the Dark Magician and Dark Magician girl for an example of what you can do with this card, which is a really good effect just to be able to out 2 monsters that your opponent might potentially bring one back from the grave and have one that's on the field. We then play 3 copies of Solemn Strike. Solemn Strike just stops our opponent from summoning monsters and using monster effects, and it really helps out this deck a lot to be able to use this card because your copies of your Lord of the Heavenly Sky Prison is basically going to stop those spell and trap pops that you're going to be worried about normally, and so is Imperial Order. So you have both of those cards that are really going to stop your opponent from doing all those effects, while you have cards like Solemn Strike and Infinite Impermanence to protect you from monster effects. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Traptrix Sarah. Traptrix Sarah is still a 3-of to me. This card is the deck to me because this card has the ability, this card is Link Summon, is unaffected by all trap effects. And then this card can only activate each of the following effects once per turn and not during the damage step. And it has the ability, if a normal trap card is activated, you can special summon a Traptrix monster from your deck with a different name from cards you control. Or if another Traptrix monster effect is activated, you can set a whole normal trap trap directly from your deck, which is a great effect. It gives you so much card advantage, and all you have to do is get rid of one Traptrix monster to summon this card out, so you always have access to Traptrix Sarah. We then play a single one of the Link 2 Traptrix. She's okay in this deck. I really like just one copy of her. I don't summon her all the time because she has the ability, if she's Link summoned, she's unaffected by all trap effects, and you only use each of following of her effects once per turn. After you activate a whole normal trap card, you can set it instead of sending it to the graveyard, and then during your end phase, you can target one Traptrix monster in the grave and special summon in defense position, which comes in handy if your opponent's playing a spell and trap heavy deck where you can bring back Marmelio to your side of the field and pop spells and traps constantly with this card. We play a single copy of Link Spider because it does out the Nibiru token, and it gives us a monster on our side of the field, and sometimes you will actually have to use this with your copy of Shade Brigandine because some of your monsters do require effect monsters, so this card helps you out a little bit to get rid of stuff. We then play a single copy of Rafflesia because Rafflesia is just a good card. It's unaffected by trap effects, and you can also send cards from the deck that are whole trap cards that meet the requirements by just detaching material. So basically your deck turns into Floodgate Trap Hole, Time Space Trap Hole, and your copy of Grave Trap Hole, which is really, really good. The same copy of Alamiras. Alamiras is just a one-up to me as well. She has the ability that you can detach 2 materials from her to special summon a insect level 4 or a plant level 4 monster from your graveyard, or if your opponent's monster leaves the field because of a card effect and is now in the graveyard or banished, then you can detach a material from her and then target one of those monsters and special summon them back to the field. Combos very well with Ice Dragon's Prison, I will say. We play a single copy of Galliant Granite, which is actually my tech card to search out the copy of your Lord of the Heavenly Sky Prison, because that card is actually a rock monster, which comes in very handy. This card is actually a rock monster, so you can actually search it with Galliant Granite. You can even search Nibiru with Galliant Granite as well, which is an old school play, but it's really good to actually pull off because you're getting a hand trap search, and you can actually search out the big boss monster with this card. We then play a single copy of Time Thief Redoer because it is just a fantastic rank 4. Abyss Dweller to shut down your opponent's graveyards, a copy of Tornado Dragon to pop spells or traps, one copy of Utopia because you make Utopia Lightning with it. I have since dropped Utopia Double from the deck because I wanted to play more copies of trap cards in the deck, and I wanted to play the Utopia Double so I could actually go into Zeus a little bit easier, so I actually dropped it out and put in Utopia the Lightning right now. I might change it back where I put in Utopia Double, so that is an option for you guys if you want to change it out, but I would keep Utopia the Lightning in here just in case you either have Imperial Order or you draw into the copy of Double or Nothing. We then play a single copy of Drill Driver. Drill Driver can be made on top of a monster that's a level 4, basically kind of like Gaia Dragon, which is pretty cool because you can make it on top of your Rafflesia after you use the Rafflesia, and then make a Zeus because you play one Zeus in the extra deck, and it gives the Zeus an extra material to be able to board wipe. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoy it. It's a really fun deck to play around with. It basically is the I Said Nope deck, and I really love the way that it plays because it just stops everything that your opponent's going to do. It has so many different counters, it can out so many different cards, and it is just such a fun deck to play around with. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.